Hello everyone, so today I'm going to review 3 mouses from Logitech. I guess with computer stuff you can use mouses instead of mice. Anyway, from left to right we have Triathlon m720, MX Series 2S and MX Series 3. From now on I'm going to refer to them as Triathlon, 2S and 3. So obviously the main difference is the price. Triathlon sells for $40, $62 for 2S, and $99 for 3. Of course, Triathlon is also the smaller version compared to the other ones. So if you're the kind of person who wants to use their mouse with their claw, you might have an easier time with Triathlon. With the other two, I found it a little bit hard to do gestures when I'm holding the mouse, because these are designed so that you actually hold the mouse with all your hand on your palm. So it's going to fill your palm, but I don't like that. With Triathlon I can easily do all kinds of gestures, but the MX series mouses don't give me that opportunity because they don't leave any room here. So I don't actually have the room to do these gestures. Another difference is I'm ambidextrous, so I want to be able to use the mouse with both my hands. Triathlon does that job because I can use it with my left and right hands. Obviously easier with the right hand, but these two other mouses, the MX series, are specifically designed for right-handed people. And aside from that, the mouses have similar buttons on them. So you have scroll wheel on all of them, and there's a button which switches the mode of the scroll wheel. And then you have a button which you can use to decide which device you want to work with. This button is located right here on Triathlon, but for MX series you have to pick up the mouse and do this. So I actually found it easier to use Triathlon here because usually when I'm switching between Mac and Windows, I want to quickly do that and I don't want to pick up my mouse and then, click something. Other than that, you have horizontal scroll wheels on the MX series. You have that on 3 and also on 2S. But on Triathlon, you don't have a dedicated horizontal scroll wheel. So if you're doing graphics design, maybe you're better off sticking with 2S and 3. But I specifically like the stepwise horizontal scroll because I want to review documents and I want to go to next and previous page. Or maybe I want to work with PowerPoint slides, or maybe I want to do some web browsing. And in many occasions, I've realized that having this kind of horizontal scrolling is much easier because with 3 and 2S, you actually can suddenly scroll too much, and that's not really good. So if you're watching a video and you want to go to just 5 seconds ago, you have an easier job if you're just scrolling horizontally like this, whereas if you just do this with Model 3, you might go to a minute ago or something like that. So I actually don't like the dedicated scroll bar or scroll wheel for horizontal scrolling, but I can totally understand if you're doing graphics design or you're working with music software, you want to have that. Another difference is the scroll wheel itself. You can see that Triathlon has a very basic one, and it also has its own noise. Whereas 2S is a little bit more advanced. Notice that right now Smart Shift is enabled, and I will tell you what Smart Shift is. Model 3 also has its own scroll. Notice that the Model 3 has the most quiet scroll wheel, and the reason is that it uses magnets instead of the other two. So they literally reinvented the wheel in a sense. However, this comes with its own downsides. With Triathlon, I know that I'm paying $40 for a mouse. I don't expect that much, but when I'm paying $99 or $62 for these mouses, I expect more. And honestly, Triathlon has been more satisfying than the other two compared to the price, because with Model 3, you have this very weird noise if you're not using the Smart Shift feature in the Logitech options software. So Smart Shift is a feature that Logitech introduced, so you don't have to switch between free spin and normal mode. What is free spin mode? So remember those long web pages that you had to scroll through, and you want to get to the bottom or the top, and you have to scroll all along? So you can switch to free spin mode, and this is available on all of them. So for example, you can say, okay, I'm going to go free spin mode. What it does, it lifts the friction, so the mouse keeps scrolling. It works in both ways. Also, it has less noise. And when you stop it, on Triathlon, it immediately stops. With 2S, you also get that free spin mode. But when you stop it, it doesn't stop immediately. So it takes some time. And the same thing happens with 3. So you have the free spin mode, and it's very quiet, and it's actually rotating. It's like a ball bearing. And when you stop it, it takes some time to stop. You can actually feel the mouse vibrating in your hands because the magnets inside the wheel are changing their polarity. Now, so maybe you don't want to switch between free spin mode and the usual mode of the mouse. So what Logitech did was they introduced this thing called Smart Shift. So it's not available on Triathlon, and I'm actually glad that it's not. But with MX series, if you're browsing and it's the normal mode of the mouse, if you scroll it so fast or so strong, it automatically or in a smart way switches to free spin mode. So look. And the same thing happens with free. Now the problem is that obviously in many cases this is not very precise. So I have noticed that in some cases I scrolled with a Model 3 or 2S and it kept scrolling even though I stopped. And I'm not really a fan of not having control over my equipments and gadgets. So I have disabled Smart Shift. But disabling Smart Shift, especially on Model 3, results in a very weird noise. So listen. So now I've disabled Smart Shift in the Logitech options software. And so if I scroll now, this is free spin mode, this is normal mode. So especially if you're in an office, this is kind of embarrassing that your mouse creates this noise all the time, especially if it's a $100 mouse. Apart from that, all of these mouses have back and forth buttons, so they're located here on Model 3. They're a little bit weird on the 2, and they're in a very convenient position on Triathlon. Another difference is obviously these two mouses are using rechargeable batteries, whereas Triathlon uses AA batteries. Now, it comes with its own nice features. So for example, I can store the dongle, the unifying receiver, as Logitech calls it, right here, so it's not lost. But with the others, you don't have that capability. Model 3 uses USB-C to charge, and Model 2S doesn't. And another thing that all these mouses have in common is this button right here. So This is a side button. You can press it with your thumb, and it's located right here. Triathlon also has it. The difference here is that I believe, at least in my case, the location or the position of this button on Triathlon is the most convenient. Because let's face it, if you design a mouse which is supposed to fill the whole palm and the user has to hold it like this, then you better move this button not from here to here. Because if you're holding the mouse like this, then you find it uncomfortable to pull your finger like this, pull your thumb, and then press it. And it's the same problem on Model 2S. Because if I'm going to hold the mouse like this, you designed it like this, so why do I have to pull my thumb like this to press this? With Triathlon, I don't have that problem, because you can press this button anywhere here. I can press it right here, or here, or here. So I actually found Triathlon the easiest one to work with. It's not the most beautiful one, honestly. Model 3 is the kind that you want to have on your desk if you're like a CEO or someone who does that kind of job. Triathlon just does the job at a very low price, and I've been very satisfied with it. It's just that the color and the design is a little bit like bland compared to the more fancy, models of MX series. Now, I wanted to just talk a little bit about this LED here. So if you're switching between devices, you have this LED here on Triathlon, and if you're turning on the mouse, you have this LED here. With 2S, you might suddenly cover this LED right here, which shows the battery percentage, and with 3, they moved it right here, so you always see that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Logitech options, and so I have Smart Shift enabled, and I want to show you one final demonstration of the noise of these wheels without the music playing in the background. So all of this is online, and now I have enabled Smart Shift. Very quiet. But if I disable Smart Shift because it interferes with my work, then okay, not so much high quality. When it comes to 2S, oh my god. Oh my god. And with Triathlon, I actually don't expect this mouse to be quiet. So you get the idea. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you make the right decision when you want to buy your next mouse. So see you next time.